Match day jumpy, boots on turf, coys in the cami, I'm putting in work. Cool like smoke from the capo's perch, South back shelling man a vibe to berserk. See through at 8, flash get wave, locos loco they can't be tamed. Burgundy and blue run deep in veins, rapids blood it floods my brain. Roll cam early, the streets get live, pre-game chaos, trance outside. During the game it's war in the stands, post-match scenes pure mayhem fam. Real with the vids, no cap, no filter, mile high Hotspur, I'm that builder. Voice of the fans, I ain't no poser. Denver streets to the pitch is culture. Leo Coys, that's the name, South Bang lad, I rep that flame. C38, locos wave, Colorado rappers, we don't play games. Subscribe and lock it, never miss the vibe. It's the mile high Hotspur, Rapids content raw and certified. Leo Coys.
Yo, welcome to the Mile High Hotspur. My name is Leo Coys, and I'm joined by my homies. We're not going to leave him lonely. He's hopping in as well. What's up, my homies? Yo, we have a star-studded lineup. We have a lineup for you guys today, my homies. This is an emergency meeting of the highest orders. When the best player in your team gets sold, one must react, and in order to do so, you have to have the homies on to do so. I'm just gonna go left to right. Juanners, thank you for joining. How are you doing, homie?
Good, doing good. A lot to chat. About as good as you can do after like busting your toe and then waking up to seeing the best DP ever leave. But we'll get into that, I'm sure. Thanks for having me.
Yeah. Of course, bro. Of course. Always welcome. My homie Crash, how we doing? Looking a bit sunny over there, bro. How are you?
Doing good. Yeah, I'm here. I'm actually out of town for work, so I'm in sunny San Diego. I got the sun beating down here through the window on me. It's been a great day for work for me, but the other side of my life with kids has been quite a challenge. So it definitely was a little bit more busy on that side of things than I ever expected. That's for sure.
Absolutely. And my homie Jay's coming in just at the nick of time. How you doing, homie?
Good, yeah. Sorry, I'm a little late. I was in a rush to get in, and it was a frantic panic, but we're here. Yeah, probably the worst day ever. We'll get into it. Like Juanners said, the best ever DP leaving, just suddenly. So, shot to the heart. I'm sure we'll get into it, but yeah, rough day.
Yeah, cheers. Appreciate you stopping by, homie. Logan, how are we doing, homie? First of all, I just want to say, if anybody's watching this live or on playback and you happen to go to the tailgate, you have to go find the homie and cop you some of the masks that the homie takes. Please go do that, you know what I mean? And mention homies and get a 10% discount. Logan, how you doing, bro?
Good. I'm all right. How are you? Yeah, I'm all right, dude. It has been kind of a sucky day, like just because of the news and keeping up with it all day at work. But we're here to talk, Pids.
Yeah, we're here to talk. Well, like I said, star-studded lineup, my homies. Look, I'm just gonna go out there and just let's just talk about it. So nobody's seen this coming. I think it's safe to say we didn't really suspect anything until possibly yesterday when he wasn't in the lineup. But even then, like, would you have thought that it would have gotten this far? And before, I go to the homies and get their opinion, I just kind of want to say, for me, I almost like, for me, obviously Spurs is my number one, but Rapids is my home team, and I've grown to love my home team, and for me that is embracing the culture with you homies in the South Bank. You know what I mean? It just the players, and one that I really enjoyed watching was Djordje Mihailovic. So for me, I could say like it's not on par with Sonny leaving, but it shocked me that much. You know what I mean? Where it came out of nowhere. It it makes you go into your feels, my homies. Like it really does. You know what I mean? Like it puts shit into perspective. That apart from football, you never know what's going on. Djordje Mihailovic is in the middle of this, and who knows, like what was the breaking point? And that's like what makes this so confusing for me, homies. Is could the Rapids have done something to prevent this from getting this far? What was the camel that broke the straws? What was the straw that broke the camel's back? You know what I mean? And you know, just if I'm Georgie, like, damn, what happened? Juanners, I'm throwing it to you first, bro.
Oh man, I was kind of interested to see what everyone else would say because I don't know, like I had floated around earlier in the season in the first transfer window. I was thinking, hey, there could be a world where the Rapids sell Djordje, and I had already kind of saw into that world because I thought Columbus Crew were for sure going to go and get Djordje. I mean, you have Wilfred Nancy, who used to coach Djordje. Djordje would be in a better situation playing some more possession ball over there. But I mean, it's tough because good players come to the Rapids and they prove it every time how good they are. And it was tough because I had always said like Djordje and Armis, I don't think that's a good combo just because I think if you're at a mile high, you should be playing with the ball, right? And Djordje, who is this player who, you know, above else was our best DP, period. I think Navajo is like a strong second, and then the rest after that is just it falls off in terms of DP production. But Djordje was like he was our guy. He was our playmaker. He succeeded despite the circumstances. So I'm with you. I'm kind of confused as to why he would want to leave. I know there's plenty to kind of point at the club and point towards, Oregon and the front office, which it, inevitably will, because like you said, it's like how long could this have been prevented? It's not like I don't think the front office just woke up and thought, hey, let's get rid of Djordje, right? I don't think anyone would do that, but it's like why are we at a point where your hand was forced by the player this way? I think that is kind of the confusion around all of this, and as to like, well, why would they do that? What do you think?
Crash? I mean, anything you want to add to that or to answer?
Yeah. No, yeah. I mean, I think, we can kind of speculate on why, but I think, hands down, best player that I've seen at the Rapids. And it was the central piece that we were trying to build from. And I think that is the hardest thing to kind of overcome is if, last year was a rebuilding season, they were really trying to push to create an MLS Cup team, or worthy of getting that far or otherwise, you would do everything in your power to keep and, to maintain that. And so I'm definitely curious as to what's going on, but, I think it can be so challenging, especially for the Rapids, at least, to find a player that fits in that, he came back from Europe, trying to redeem himself and just jump straight in. There wasn't where Navajo had, that half a season in 23 that, didn't have any production. We were kind of not sure where he was going to happen, and turned it around last year, obviously. But, Djordje never had that. He came straight in and was just a game changer pretty much on day one in reality. And so, a lot of questions as to why, what's the plan, what's going on. And I think, that's the biggest concern of it as at this point is the timing, why, we need some answers. And that's where I'm kind of at is like, we need the addition of from the front office or some sort of statement here, because this is big.
I'm gonna go to Jay's, but before I do, I'm gonna just go through the chat. I should have went through earlier, my homies. I'm sorry. Big up to Jeremy in the crib. How you doing? Big up. Nice to see you here, my homie. B-Ray, big yourself up. He says, "What a bunch of good-looking, cool arrows here." Right back at you, my homie. We got Jared. Big up to yourself, my homie. Hope you're well. We have Quez. Big up, my homie. Hope you are doing well. Thank you for stopping by, my homie. Uh, Dustin, he says, "R.I.P. but up the fucking pids." And we have my homie Chuck. How you doing? Big yourself up all the way to Chicago. Let's see. We have the Welsh Tottenham, the Welsh Rapids fan in the house saying he was on a real high from his second Rapids game. I've been missing someone to rant to though. Sonny, heartbroken. I've literally been in tears, my homie. Now it's even closer to home because our number 10, our best player, the focal point of our attack. I would say the bread and butter of our team. Wore the armband for a while. One of probably the most vocal persons in the locker room got sold today just out of nowhere. So it's like double heartbreak over here, my homie. But big yourself up. Thank you for being here. Ray says, I don't understand why the front office, knowing Djordje wanted to leave, didn't have a player to sign during this window. No vision for the replacement. What a great comment. And we have Greg, my homie Greg's in the house. He says, big up, Leo and the homies. Big yourself up, my homie. Let's see. Then he said, LAFC get Hyungmin's son. The Rapids need to get someone soon. Or someone's son, however you want to read that. But yes, I agree, my homie. I agree. And Drew saying howdy. TFC of all places. I mean, I don't. I guess that's what we'll touch on that probably later on. But Jace, I'm gonna throw it to you, homie. Go ahead and vent. Go ahead and rant. Go ahead and do whatever you got, bro. Because the floor is yours. I just want to make it known. I'm gonna try and mess around with this configuration to make us bigger. So if anybody disappears or anything like that, you will be back on screen. I'm just gonna try
No
and mess with
worries.
this a little bit, my homies. All right.
Yes.
Go ahead, Jace.
Yeah, just getting into it. I mean, it's a concerning time, right? You have a star player who arguably was the only piece to give us any sort of success this year, which success being playoffs. Now that piece is gone, so there's major concern. The vibe is just at an all-time low, I would say. I've been talking to people today. Most people are, on the fence of protest, which in my recollection, we've never seen this from a player departure in Rapids history. Maybe Juanners could correct me because he's better with history than I am, but
Plenty of bad trades.
plenty of
but
bad trades.
well, none
but
of this
like,
scale. None of this scale.
sure, like you had Sam Cronin, Mark Birch. I touched on that a while ago. Like that was like I remember being really angry about that, but like this is like, dude, like you're like a sabotaging departure. And so
Mm.
the problem for me, right, is not the departure. I'm not worried about the departure. I'm worried about the quote unquote solution to this problem, what they're gonna do about it, which I don't think they're gonna do anything about it because there's not a lot of time to really make a strong move. Now you get $8 million in cash, which you can use in the league for a league asset, but just concerning times because Georgie was such an impactful player, and to lose him in a crucial stretch like this, fuck the Cruz Azul game. I was saying put Ali Fadal out there for the Cruz Azul game because I don't care about that. I had touched last time on this stream about how crucial the MLS season is to Armis's job, and to get rid of Djordje Mihailovic is kind of a shot to Armis a little bit, but also they had branded this Armis era as like Djordje being the catalyst for this era of Armis. So to get rid of him really throws a wrench into that too. It's just but these are things that longtime guys have seen before. It maybe not on this scale, but but not necessarily surprised, but pissed off, man. Just pissed off. I'm sure solutions could have been figured out a lot sooner, whether that be a new contract or or just general general morale solutions. I don't know what morale was like. I've seen some things. I'm not going to touch on them in here, only because I don't know how true they are. But just
I
at
know what you're talking about.
you know what I'm talking about. Thank you. But
Oh, we had a
just
little bit of a chat before because we were unsure we
okay.
should bring that up or not.
I'm not going to be the guy to bring that up. There's been shares. I'm not going to say who shared them, but there's shares into just insight in maybe what was going on, maybe what was felt by the player. And so, to that end, it's an unfortunate situation. I'll let Logan have some words. I've spoken for a while, but
Sure.
um, yeah, just shit situation. So go ahead, Logan.
Air it out.
All right.
bitches.
Well, for my for my monologue, uh, it is all time low. Our country is in distress. Our club's in distress. It's a dire situation over here at Rapids HQ. The timing is very strange. B-Ray mentioned this in his comment earlier. Like, to have the player leave in the winter, and his contract was good through 27. Toronto's money's still going to be there in the winter transfer window. There must have been something that happened this week or last week that really pushed the needle. That was the final straw, the last straw.
Yeah.
And
Yes.
it'll be interesting to see how the front office communicates this officially.
Yes.
If we see anything from Djordje in the coming month, kind of like when we had all those outgoing transfers of Price and Rubio. I mean, they were disgruntled with the front office. Maybe some of that wasn't warranted, some of that was. But there is something at the club going on that is keeping quality players from staying here. I mean, we have Stefan coming back as a distressed asset, and he's gotten caps on the national team now. He's getting called up to camps. He can't stay healthy, but he gets called up to camps. And as a goalkeeper, I just think the wages are lower in MLS. Like, he's not going to get a better offer within MLS. And we have Djordje come back, and he kind of kickstarts his career again, but he's just not getting the looks for whatever reason on the national team. And maybe there were promises made from the club to build around him, and he has not been satisfied with that. And he has decided that the jig is up here, and there's no chance of redemption in his mind here. So that's a concerning thought. And I don't blame him. It is kind of lame. Like, I don't know how he's only been here a year and a half. So, like, I don't know how much loyalty he has. You can really expect from him to maybe stick out the last 9 games of the season. So from, like, as a professional, I don't really blame him. It's something's going on, or it's a symptom of the front office and issues in the front office.
Yeah.
Real quick, the homie Rob says thoughts on Rob Holding. I'll just be brief. I think it's a good move. I want to know if he was in the know of Djordje leaving before he signed. Not to say that they wouldn't have told him, but I wonder if, like, it was all in the mix before he signed. Did he know he was walking into the shit show? And if he's watching, he better like and subscribe. Nah.
Well, I'll talk on
think,
Rob Holding real quick.
Yeah, I think it's a good move. Go ahead, Logan.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's a good move. If we get I assume he's not on a DP contract. He's probably getting bought down if he is higher. Yeah, no way.
No DP.
I think he's a good plug for Cheeto. Like, Cheeto wasn't superstar material, and I don't think Rob Holding necessarily will be, but he has potential to be a very good left back at the MLS level, or center back at the MLS level.
All my English friends laughed at me when I said we signed Rob Holding, so
yeah,
that tells you all you need to know.
Yeah. Well, you can imagine what my friends told me about assigning Rob Holding, so I'll pass it on to Crash.
It's better than nothing. I mean, I have hopes. If I were him and I didn't know what just happened today, I would be pissed.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that's a tough, you come into a team that has a chance, you know, I don't know what, it might have been the same speech sold to Djordje coming back. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think that's the key is, I don't know what the front office is selling to the players to convince them to come to the club. I mean, it's tough. I mean, I could only imagine what he thought when he walked in the locker room for the first time and saw what the facilities were. Coming from Arsenal, coming from, even, Sheffield United, a championship caliber, lower Premier League caliber team. I mean, their facilities are night and day different than anything we have available. So him coming in and seeing what he's going to be in, I could only imagine he's like, holy shit. What is this?
To kind of extend your point, because I honestly don't care about Rob Holding, not to sour that a little bit. I just don't think it's. I think this team, like even before the before the Djordje news, I didn't think Rob Holding would be the guy to get in there and fix everything wrong with this defense. Right. I think it's a lot of moving pieces, but I mean, you don't even have to compare the facilities at Arsenal. Just look around the league, dude. Like, all these places in MLS are investing heavily in their youth development and facilities. Cincinnati is just kind of clears everything the Rapids have. It's not that, it's not only that, European talents kind of coming over here and sniffing at, the club's state. It's also the American players. It's also Djordje Mihailovic, who at one point was with Montreal. Come on now. You know what I mean? Like, he was always there to kind of springboard into Europe. And I don't know if he was ever going to be a top European star. I think Djordje Mihailovic is a perfect, poster child for what staying in MLS could do for you. You get paid really well to be towards the top, echelon of players in the league. I'm looking right now at his, and I did this after the emergency pod with Jeremy and B-Ray, who are in the chat. Shout out to y'all. Thanks for joining me on that one. But we were kind of thinking like, all right, so who do you even go for? Who would you go in the league to go and get? I looked at the stats. Djordje Mihailovic is the second best attacking midfielder in the league. And the one better than him is Evander. And one player below him is Carlos Gil. And I thought, man, if the club were kind of if the club were serious, go and get Carlos Gil. Like, I know he's on the older end, but you need to my biggest concern here is, does the club do anything with the money? Because it's been so many misses. Lamine Diak, Marco Illich, Sidney Tavares, Max, Eigner. I can name a bunch of them in the last decade that have just been flop after flop. Cheeto Awazium, right? Like, I'm happy to say that despite the talent that Cheeto had, he flopped here at the Rapids. Like, he's gone, and so we really need to see. Because I know a lot of people want, are quick to doom the season, but they got 3 weeks left. I think a big signing is going to come from within the league. Like, it has to. Like, if the Rapids are serious about next year and about setting this team up for success long term, they need to hit on a signing like tomorrow, like next week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, absolutely.
Yeah, I agree. Real quick, do not let Max near DraftKings. And what about Gio Reyna?
Oh my God.
Second chance FC.
I've heard him thrown around a bunch. Actually, I don't know why.
Dele Alli.
I got this banner up
Garnacho doesn't have
earlier.
a team right now. He's not a midfielder.
Jays, I'll start with you, bro. Who do you feel is accountable for this, bro?
Well, it's hard to say. It's also very easy to say, depending on how you look at it. I would say the first finger I would point at is obviously the front office for mismanaging the the player club situation a little bit, or just allowing it to drag out to this stage. We have seen it numerous times over the course of pretty much this front office's tenure, of just players suddenly leaving, players kind of forcing themselves out, um, like complete teams being kind of thrown apart because of certain situations. So it's just, but it's a continuation of that, but maybe kind of like I said earlier, of a much larger scale player. And so I would point to the front office as who's accountable to this, particularly Poirier Smith and Fran Taylor, the two head honchos, but probably
Mm,
KSE as a whole still.
yeah.
It's always KSE as a whole to begin with.
But I would say that once the players just, I mean, because look, the to be fair, bro, and to play devil's advocate, they rejected 2 offers supposedly from Toronto. You know what I mean? And it was Georgie that pushed this move through. Now I know the question was who do you feel is accountable for this? You know what I mean? But at the end of the day, like
The player
that goes back.
technically.
Yeah, no, I mean at the end of the day, they moved him on with probably unwillingly because he probably said, "Look, dudes, like that's it. Like I want to go." And at that point, fair play to the front office for saying, "Dude, we just got rid of
Well,
what could be."
multiple questions are being asked there. Who's accountable for Georgie's demise at the club versus who's accountable for the outing of Georgie himself?
Mm,
That's two complete separate
absolutely.
things. And so you have to look at, why was Georgie disgruntled? Okay, first of all,
Hmm.
why was there no long-term plan being followed, right? He was a part of a long-term plan. Why was that not being followed? Why have other plans not been followed in the past 2 years? So um, you, you really have to look at this through multiple lenses.
Yeah. No, absolutely. Like I said, there's always going to be the opposite
Mhm.
side of the coin. You know what I mean on any flip. But like I said, I know that like the fan has we're definitely entitled to feel how we want to, and that's where like I feel my biggest frustration is are we going to be left in the dark? Because like I was thinking before the stream, Armis is going to end up talking about this shit eventually, bro. He's just like that. Like if you ask him a question, he'll answer you. You know what I mean? Like that's just the type of person that he is. So we're obviously going to hear more and more about what's going on, but just how much of that is going to be like the 100% what happened. So that's kind of like where I feel as a fan. I'm a bit upset because they at the end of the day they could go another 10 years and never talk about this move, or they could release a press statement tomorrow explaining what happened. You know what I mean? I would hope you know I don't know how many of you guys
Yeah.
are, but a season ticket holder, you would want to know what is going to happen. You would want to know why. At least I
Yeah.
do, my homies. And
Oh yeah.
that's the most frustrating part of this whole situation is it blindsided everybody. And if we don't hear anything about this, it's going to be fucking even more uncertain and just like we might even see more players. It even got me thinking, bro, like Kevin Cabral stuck around for so long. I hate to say this, but that was detrimental for our team. It was obviously detrimental for the locker room. It was obviously detrimental for Djordje Mihailovic. We seen the scuffle. We seen them have their little spats on the pitch. You know what I mean? Throughout the games, bro. We talked about this a number of times on streams.
Mhm.
How long was Kevin Cabral going to get the pass? Now, I'm not throwing this on him. I'm just saying there's always shit that adds to it. You know what I mean? The vision was it there? If the Rapids had more vision and were more transparent, would we still have players like Cheeto? You know what I mean? Would he not want to feel so compelled to want to leave and go abroad? You know what I mean? It's just there's more that just doesn't meet the eye, and that
Yeah.
is what bothers me.
Well, and I think you look at we ask who's accountable to this, and it goes back to the Cabral signing, right? It was the fact that he wasn't producing, and if I'm George, and again, I have no knowledge of how he was brought, what they promised him, what they did, or anything like that. But I can only imagine, to get a player of that caliber to come over back to the States, to redeem they're going to say, hey, this is what we're doing. This is our plan. This is our vision. And then you get here and then you see the execution and then the lack of ability to get, additional support. I mean, we've been saying that for Djordje and Hoffa to be really dangerous and to, they could be really at the top of the Golden Boot or, MVP list if they had high-end talent around them to support, right? If you had a Belonga caliber or a Pencil caliber winger outside of them, that's
Absolutely
elite. Those guys are on the top of the list, and if that's maybe what was promised to them, and they show up and they see what's happening on that front office, and maybe they stuck around through the year and say, okay, we had a good year, we're going to get some additional support in the summer, and nothing happened, or in the winter, like nothing happened, like what we expected. Or were surprised by, I am not surprised that there were some frustrations there, right? And especially with Djordje wanting to be in the national team conversation, and I don't know why he's not or otherwise, right? It could be anything, but there's Omir leaving, so many lacking losses in attack. I would probably be frustrated too. And then Cabral is just the icing on the cake, and I think. In my opinion, Cabral being waived was their last ditch effort to keep Djordje. And I don't know that for a fact or anything. That's just my speculation. But I mean, if you're trying to ditch, you're like, you know what, we're going to get rid of the dead weight. We're going to get you some support. And then they probably got the Alexi Manyoma or whatever you say his last name as the incoming for him. And they're like, wait, what? This is what you're bringing in? No, I can't. It might have been just the kicker for him to find else pastures. So I don't know. I can't say any of that for fact. It's all speculation for me, but that's how I would feel.
Yeah. Juanners, you want to add anything?
Yeah, I mean,
or even you, bro. Like, who do you feel is accountable for this, bro? If you want to say,
I mean, I think everything just goes to KSC. I know people were kind of, looking to protest, but I mean, so long as KSC are making their money, it's like they're. I mean, this doesn't move anything for KSC is the thing. Like for Rapids fans, like we are left to just sit in the rubble of this, while like I tweeted out Kevin Demoff, who did follow Box State Footy back, so maybe that's big up. Maybe a little bit of an encouragement. I was waiting for him to block me, honestly, because I'm like, hey, well, if there's anybody that you need to channel this energy to that needs to see it, it is the higher ups. And like, I think at the end of the day, like that's, I mean, like it's not too long ago that people were buying the third kit, you know what I mean? And all credit to people to do whatever they please with their money, but like,
oh man,
it's like at that point, like like I've tried to steer clear of just paying for anything Rapids related, just because I really don't want to give money to this org, and like that's ultimately like what you could do is just to like vote with your dollar, but I mean, who's accountable? Like, there's ultimately the person accountable for leaving is Djordje. Like, he wanted out, and I'd be remiss if I didn't mention this because Jeremy Peterman always brings it up, and Djordje led in expected assisted goals at one point in the season. I think according to American Soccer Analysis, it kind of varies where you go, but I mean, there's a point where like he had to rack up 3 assists. I mean, he was like underperforming his assisted goals by 5, and like I'd be frustrated too if my teammates weren't doing their jobs as well as Djordje was. And it's just like one of those things, like it's like, man, that Cabral signing, it just was the ultimate domino towards everything kind of falling, and ultimately whoever brought up Cabral to be signed should never have a decision again in the future of this club. I don't care who it is. Like that is a a misuse of funds. And that's the thing. It's like, it's hard to like hold anyone accountable. It wasn't too long ago. Crash tweeted out like, well, what happens if the club don't, deliver on this stuff? Like, are they going to be held accountable? And I said, ultimately they're not. Like, like it's tough because there's so many ways you can lay the blame at various people, but at the end, like, I don't think anything will change. Like, I think this is just the lot that we are given to as Rapids fans.
Yeah. And George holds the
I just want to say
expected assist.
Big up to the homie Callum. Go ahead, homie, my bad.
Oh, no, I just say, according to FOTMob, at least, Djordje is still at 9.6 for in leading expected assists per game or per season, whatever it is, whatever that stat is. But yeah, he's ahead of Espinoza and Carlos Heel.
There you go.
I want to kind of not switch gears whatsoever, but I want to go from a different angle that I'm also curious to see. Where does Armis stand in all of this now that Djordje's gone? How much did he play in to try to keep him? Is the system the Rapids are trying to play even like the best for Djordje? I'll just toss it
before we move on to that, one extra stat that's really, really important. Djordje is also expected assists per 90 at 4.2. You know who he shares that tie with?
Messi.
Wow.
Messi and Espinoza.
Fucking hell, man.
Yeah, I mean, you don't got to go far to. Yeah. Go ahead and lead the Armis talk because I'm interested to hear what you got to say.
Yeah. I mean, it seems like, I was talking with Jim about this earlier over text, but I'm sure that Armis, he's a philosophy player. I mean, all coaches are, I guess. They want your team, they want buy-in from the players. They want everybody on the same page. And at some point, he lost that with Djordje. I mean, it's nobody finishing his 4.5 expected assists every game or per 90.
Good shout.
Maybe it's some of the substitutions. When Cabral comes on late and he's yelling at Cabral because Cabral misses an easy pass and it goes out of bounds, like that wears you down and you lose confidence in the system that you're a part of. And then you start to look elsewhere. Or you might, the Rapids could have even offered him $12 million, a contract extension, but he still might have gone because he wants to win. He's in the prime of his career. He wants to win. And I'm sure that Armis kind of held him like mentally there for a while. And I'm sure he tried to reassure him that the front office is going to fix things or that their system will fix things for whatever Djordje's concerns were. And it was lost sometime in the last month, with a couple offers being rejected. And then Djordje saying, no, I need this move. Now, that doesn't speak to anything about Armis's system because really, I think if we had better finishing, a lot of the games that we have lost should have been put to bed in the first half. So anyway, I'll open it up for discussion.
Yeah, I'd like to step in because I've been a very, very harsh critic of Armis, and I think the one thing that I've always pointed to is the defense. Right, the defense. Armis has continually. I think he's averaging now like 2 goals against in all time as a manager. Like, we haven't seen a strong defense for this team in a long time. Like consistent backline defense, like those clean sheets kind of come a lot more like tough. They come a lot more by the skin of our teeth than any sheer masterclass of defense. But I would point to other reasons as to why you could comfortably move on from Armis next year. And if there was ever a time to move on from Armis, it is when you have sold a player in Djordje. I mean, we're kind of like, are we in the point where are we thinking this is a like have the Rapids hit the reset button? Because I think if they want to commit to Armis, you talk to Armis and say, hey, what do you need for your system? Where do you want us to go with this money? Like, and at that point, like, you know, you're doing a lot of you're giving a lot to Armis to go from there. But I mean, that's the ultimate vote of confidence for an extension, I think. And I think Jared said it best: 1 year extension, take it or leave it. I think that is, you know, the 2 year was kind of a smart, savvy, you know, move, because it's, can Armis prove it? And ultimately, these next 9 games is where Armis will prove if he's got it or not, you know. And ultimately, without Djordje Mihailovic, without I mean, we're hoping Rob Holding's the answer, but without any defensive, I would really like Djordje if I could, but I think a little bit of the Ted Lasso has worn off. I know that kind of that stigma came with him, but I mean, I can't, when you guys talk about maybe Djordje gave up on it, that's kind of where I'm seeing it on my end. But yeah, it's hot seat. I guess not hot seat, but time's ticking.
Yeah, I 100% agree. And I'm not saying like we should stick with Armis and put everything behind him that he needs. I don't know if his system really works. Like, yeah, the defensive has issues. I guess I was approaching the question more so, what did Armis have to do with the deal or the leaving of Djordje?
Yeah,
I really think, like, if we don't have another manager that's interested, and already Jared's idea of 1 year deal, take it or leave it, might be the move. I definitely wouldn't give him a 2 year, 3 year deal.
Well, and I think too, you think about, you know, Armis, you know, I agree. I think the 1 year extension makes sense. And unless you're going to completely revamp the team in 26 and you're just calling this a wash, you know, and I think, you know, with the system, the bought in, like, you're not going to want to have to redo that, especially next year. So, I mean, for me, it makes sense for him. I think, you know, he is, you know, he's he has good vision and ideas. It's whether he has the players to provide that level of vision and play, right? And I think, you know, the young team and those kinds of things, it's hard, right? And he talks about it all the time where, you know, they still have to learn it. They have to figure it out. Well, if you have some established players that don't have to learn it, it becomes easier. And so I think, you know, if he has the team and he has the players to support it, you know, that 1 year extension could be an easy move the following year with the right players around him. So maybe with 2 DB openings, you know, coming next year, you know, depending on what we have, you know, what happens, you know, this summer, you know, maybe we get the team that he needs to play that system, and just with some help on the defensive side. But I don't know. I don't think it's an Armis problem personally. I think it's a club problem or a front office problem more than it is a coaching situation.
Real quick, I'm just going to answer Rob's question. I think I could safely say, you know, NBA, in no particular order, would be NBA basketball, NHL hockey, NFL football, MLB baseball, and then, I mean, MLS football is definitely gaining popularity for sure. Football. So I would, college football as well. College football goes even harder than some of the biggest professional sports. Yeah, so big up. Appreciate you being here, Rob. On a serious note, Pids have ton of individual errors on every conceded goal. Good shout. Attack in theory should have worked. Personnel is bigger problem than coaching. Ooh, what a good take. Jace, you want to anything? Can you caveat on that, or I mean, what do you think of that?
No, that's exactly how I feel. Some of the roster decisions have hampered this team from becoming next level. And so you're now seeing the ill effects of that and seeing how those bad decisions affect you know, futures at clubs and et cetera. It's a culmination of just bad decisions. And so here you are. I can't blame Armis to a full extent. There's certainly things I don't like about Armis's tactics or his play, like Juanners said, the defense. is a little shaky, and those 2 goals a game,
Mm.
it's a little bit of panic button, right? It's a little bit of like,
Yeah.
whoa, it's not too good. But yeah, kind of like you guys are alluding to, like the personnel is really not good. You look at the bench depth. I remember a few games ago we played New England. And they brought on a Ruti, and it just changed the game. And it's like we don't
Mhm.
really have anybody that could just come in and like truly change that game. And so that's kind of the start of my concerns when you look at the depth and like the actual roster and some of the decisions. But then like Dustin had alluded to, like, well, we all wanted KSB minutes, and then he gets loaned out, and it's like, why are some other guys there that might not necessarily deserve to be there, like, you know what I mean? So just a lot of questions on a lot of these decisions. And so um you're now seeing a culmination of said decisions, I guess. But I can't blame Armis all the way.
The homie Nick says, where's his comment come up here? Well, first of all, he asked, damn it, what happened now? Y'all lost Mihailovic, and we did. And he said that makes as much sense as Dallas trading Luca. Fair, right? For real. Like, why did they let him go? I really don't understand the wage structure in MLS. It's so weird. I mean, I don't know if definitely wasn't about the wage,
No,
because
he wanted out. He wanted out.
yeah, he
It looked.
just wanted out. Yeah, he was just done with the pities. I like, and that's just kind of like the whole reason for this is why, you know what I mean? Why, or we're, I guess, trying to get to it. But on a side note, Crash, what does Connor Ronan even do?
Good distribution. He's got, great. He can switch the field better than anyone.
He pings the ball really nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I was, it's funny, like we, jumping over to Connor Ronan, but I think, the one thing I was thinking about and maybe touched on earlier with the group, but what happens next is a big question, right? So Djordje's gone, Cheeto's gone. Not Cheeto left for his own reasons, which I understand, but your biggest player leaves. What's Hoffa thinking? What's Cole thinking? What are these players that are really staples on the team thinking about their future? And is that with the Rapids? Do you see movement on players that now want to leave? If I was Hoffa, I'd be like, really? Am I just I like he's young, he wants to progress. Like, who's providing him service? I think here you can already see he gets frustrated, with the place from some of the guys and the missed passing and different things, and his chances at any sort of relevance in MLS is going to be challenged with Djordje gone. And so for me, what if think about Stefan, right? He's working his way back into the national team. He wants that starting spot on the World Cup. Does he want to stick around at the Rapids? Is he going to start asking for a trade or a move to, and I think, the relevance of the Rapids in MLS with exposure, they seem to go out of their way not to cover or show anything Rapids in any MLS conversation. And I think that stigma is probably, without any splashy signings or players in the headlines, none of these guys are going to get nods unless they perform way above their expectations. So my concern is who's next.
And when to add to that, when MLS would cover the Rapids, it was Mihailovic, or maybe a little bit of Zach Steffen. I think Mihailovic got a player of the match day this year.
He was also on 360.
He had that segment on 360. I mean, the combo of Hoffa and Mihailovic was what was keeping us in the table, like even in playoff picture, to be honest. It's going to be interesting.
I think it has. Yeah, I just to caveat what you homies were saying, I think this is definitely gonna put some, what's the word, unsurety, like they're gonna be unsure of, yeah, like Hoffa, for example. I mean, you hit the nail on the head with the hammer, Crash. His service, and then the homie in the comments said, like he was getting the service but not doing as much with it, and that's fair. Like that also is a true statement. You know what I mean? But now I could flip that and say he's going to miss every shot he's not taking now, and he's not going to be getting that service from Djordje, which I don't want to throw the numbers out there because I'm not sure, but I did read some stuff where like they were up there for the most combined goals in the league. I don't know if they were the highest combo, but they were definitely up there with the highest combos for scoring. So that's gonna leave repercussions, my homies. That's gonna like, yeah,
I wouldn't
I
be
know it's not like
surprised.
panic mode, but I'm starting to like, you the little writings on the wall, basically. You know what I mean? And I said this in a video earlier where there's smoke, there's fire, and definitely like now there's a huge fire going on, and um it's just a hectic
Well,
situation. And go ahead.
B-Ray put in the chat here right there. Yeah, Hoffa to Liga MX incoming. Wouldn't be surprised.
He played well. He played well.
He plays that style of ball. He's I don't know. I hate it because I love Hoffa and he's one of the hardest working players on the team, and it just seems like he keeps getting his people pulled away. I mean, Omir leaves.
Yeah.
Djordje's now gone. Like I don't know. I feel bad for the guy. Hopefully they have something for him.
I want to pivot to looking towards the future because I think like at the end of the day, players come and go, right? Like,
Yeah.
Like all of these players have an expiration date when it comes to their time in Burgundy, and for some, like some want to make that sooner, like Djordje, right? Like he wanted out. I guess I don't, like the Rapids weren't gonna hold on to these players forever, right? And I know we can kind of start to like prepare for the worst, but I think ultimately, like, instead of looking towards the future, I think we got to look back and kind of look at the moves that have been made. And I think at that point, like the Rapids hired a new CBO in Haley Dermer, like, and now she's got a friggin' mountain of a task here to get people to buy in. Right. But I think like that's one step is getting a new CBO. And I think if I'm that CBO, I'm looking at, the track record of spending, the track record of poor decision roster builds and overspending at positions that don't need to be overspent. Apparently we didn't even use all the Bombi money, right? And so it's like why aren't we able to utilize Rapids assets to the most for like the Rapids? You know what I mean? Like that's ultimately where I think we have to like start, pushing the front office to the narrative, I guess you could say, is like, why are we continually going 2 steps forward, 3 steps back, like every so few years, like there needs to be that discussion of as to like, why, like, where's the denominator here besides like, because I mean ultimately KSC selling the team, right? That is like that feels like the ultimate release at this point. But then that brings up so many uncertainties. You know what I mean? Like you could easily have a sale, and then by the time we know it, the Rapids are no longer in Commerce City. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
it's like a weird time in the club, and they have to show up because like I said, Summit FC, bro, they are coming. They are a passionate group. They are much closer to global stars in the women's game than the Rapids are. I mean, Jeremy was kind of in the chat. Jeremy Peterman was kind of floating on the podcast that, like, yeah, there's some troubles with Sophia Wilson in Portland. Could you imagine like a Summit team with Sophia Wilson to like sell and like a first year, like all of that excitement is just everywhere at the Summit. And right now like the Rapids have no motion whatsoever. I think that is ultimately like the most concerning thing. Because I mean, if we make the playoffs, if we don't, it doesn't matter. Like long term, like there's a big hole in this club right now. So I got to take off though, fellas. I kind of wanted to end on that note because KC, man, we gotta demand better, I think, at this point, or else the Rapids are in serious trouble.
Absolutely.
I agree.
I'm gonna I will add Box State Footy to the description. Anybody that wants to subscribe, you should definitely head over to Juanners at Box State Footy. We'll put that in the description. Is there anything you want to plug, Juanners?
No, just Box State Footy, like you said. I wish I could hang on for longer, but I gotta go eat some dinner. So
be safe,
thanks
bro.
for having me.
Joining, bro.
See you, Juan.
Be safe, brother. Be safe.
Yeah. No, I think want to bring up a really good point, right? And I think Denver Summit FC is the big catalyst to maybe a lot of this, right? You know, you see this club coming in, you see the plans, you see the ambition, you see the direct comparison between that and the lack of any sort of investment from KSE in the team or in the facilities and anything over the past 30 years, really, right? And, you know, I think moving into Dick's was this big exciting thing, and that's the last giant thing that happened to the club. And, you know, so the direct comparison, I would be looking at like, wait, the women's team is going to have better facilities and training facilities than we are. I'd be questioning my life choices as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I was optimistic with the women's team coming that KSE and Rapids FO was going to have to get their stuff together. And
they've done the exact opposite.
In the free market is good. It creates a better product all around. And I was optimistic. And I think to bounce off your point with like the big stuff happening at the club, almost like in response to the protest a couple years ago and the walkout, like the club did, you know, tighten up the reins and they signed some good players. They made some adjustments, and that could have been the start to a new chapter. But we're here, same old Rapids, making blunders in the front office and the culture to cause a player to want to leave like this.
I think from a PR perspective of just purely marketing the team, dude, you're gonna have a lot of people pissed. Like people that just don't, not guys like us who are always gonna be there, who are always gonna, you know, talk about it, no matter how shitty it gets. But there's gonna be people who are kind of what I call those like on the fence Rapids fans who are either just getting into it or are maybe have gotten into it for a while and recent successes have kind of progressed their interest. I think you're going to see a huge shift in, especially once Denver Summit comes into play, because dude, like you can't keep having all these PR nightmares and PR issues given, you know, players want to leave, they want to leave, but like it's still a bad look, right? There's a lot of bad looks, training ground, stadium, etc. There's just so many, there's more bad looks with this ownership group, with this front office, with the staff, with everybody involved than there are good looks. And it's just, as a fan, you almost ask like, why do I keep doing this? Why do I keep putting my energy like into trying to garner interest, take my friends to games, do all this shit that I try and do when it's just the same old sour story every 2 years? And so with the advent of Denver Summit FC, it really gives people who are tired of this bullshit kind of a new chapter towards that, a new club to look at, a new identity. Given it's women's soccer and um, it's a little bit different here and there, but it's the same game ultimately, and so it's the same it's the exact same passions and fan culture,
Yeah.
and so if Denver Summit hits the nail on the head, which I fucking know they will, guys.
No.
The Rapids are in serious trouble. I've thought about this. Like they are in serious PR trouble. I'm not necessarily saying financial issues. That's a whole different thing. But like like just people showing up, bro. Just people showing up. And so when you have issues like this, there's a lot of guys that I used to talk to at games when I first started going that are just no longer there. And just people who lose passion. It's from crap like
It all
this,
trickles down
setbacks
from the
like
top,
this.
bro.
Yeah.
Well, it
Yeah.
all trickles down from the top, and seeing Kevin Demoff take over as the head of all of the KSC operations, I don't see much change here. Sure, you can give him, $2 extra million to spend on transfer fees for the season, but that's not going to fix it, right? There's still internal, like club culture, like operational issues that still linger that need evaluating, and you can hire fucking 1,000 people, and it's not going to fix it when the root of the problem still exists at the top. And so, um,
I'm a Tottenham fan, bro. That's exactly what we've been saying for many a
my
years, bro.
mind, but my mindset is pretty much just like reset the whole fucking thing, bro. Like hit the nuke button,
Yeah.
clear everybody out. But they're not going to do that because the way that this ownership group functions, for those who don't know in the chat, is this is just a tax write-off. It's purely an asset that they can just write off as lost revenue or whatever. So it's not going to change. Dick's Sporting Goods Park and the surrounding area haven't changed since the day they opened. We were promised a whole Commerce City town hall and a whole Commerce City entertainment district, and had never gotten it. So this ownership group's a bunch of scumbags, and so you get scumbag results out of it, which is a team that's out of the playoff picture most likely, a star player that's leaving, and multiple player departures in the last few years with very, very sketchy circumstances. So.
Well, and I'll touch on your, the casual, right? The fan
Sure.
who's just showing up, right? So, my daughter, massive Djordje fan, like, and I'm struggling on how to even tell her that he's not going to be there. She will be absolutely like just destroyed because she's written him letters, and she's a 10-year-old girl who's passionate about soccer, and she's a number 10. Like that's what she wants to be. She plays the same way, in her mind as he does. And that's why she goes to the game. It was funny because I messaged her yesterday when Djordje didn't, I was talking to her on the phone, and when Djordje wasn't in the lineup, she goes, "Oh, I'm not even going to watch."
Oh no. Oh no.
You know what I mean? Like,
See,
she's
this
like,
is
I
what
don't
I'm
even want
talking about, bro.
I don't even want to watch because my favorite isn't out there. Granted, she still watched because I said, I told her, I forget what it was. She's like, "Oh, I'll watch." But, at the end of the day, you've got a lot of those people that have that passion, especially kids, like they latch onto that player and, a good face for the club, somebody you can be like, that you can be proud of. And, us as fans, we know it, they come and go, but how do you tell that to a 10-year-old kid that, their favorite players just bailing, or gone to some, granted he's got his own reasons, and I'm not saying it's his fault or he should have any, accountability to, how a kid feels, right? He's got to do what he feels is best for him and his family. And I get that.
Yeah.
But from a KSE perspective, from an office perspective, you're going to lose so many people now, for her. She's so excited for the Denver Summit. She can have real, Sophia Wilson's one of her also heroes, right? But she doesn't get to see her play. If she shows up at Denver Summit on day one, we've already got our tickets, for season ticket holders on deposit. As soon as they were available, it was the first thing I did. I knew she'd won it. And you got to believe if I'm competing between what the Rapids might be next season to what Denver Summit is looking to be next season, it's not even a question on where I'm going to put my money.
Mhm.
I'm going to go where because I want her to have something that she can watch, a product she can be proud of. And right now the Rapids aren't fulfilling that promise.
My question is just like, how much longer do the old heads fucking deal with it, bro? Like, how much longer do they carry out with this before it's finally just like, I'm just gonna go over to what I'm gonna call Denver Summit FC Stadium, like like what is the time, right? Like it's ticking closer and closer and closer. It's like the Rapids doomsday clock, right? It's as far over as it could possibly be right now. And as soon as Denver Summit comes in, it's just it's halfway closer to the end.
Yep. No, I agree.
Damn, I agree. The first Saturday night when it's Pitt at Dick's or Summit at the Yards is going to open a lot of eyes.
Yeah,
It's going to open a lot of eyes.
Oh yeah.
And I tell you what, I wouldn't even be surprised if it's Saturday night with PIDS and Summit, and Summit's at their temporary stadium.
Yeah,
that does better.
Even their temporary stadium is going to do better. I have a feeling.
Yeah.
I like this comment here from John. He says, I feel like the story or rumor out there might be true that he was just mad at the Rapids, didn't do squat to, basically facilitate him around him when he sees clubs like LAFC and Miami and Charlotte. Now, granted, we don't have that same money, but we could still show, like, you know what I mean, intent and do stuff. I mean, so I agree. He did. There's lack of ambition, my homies, for sure.
Well,
Like,
and I think too. Oh, go ahead.
So realistically, we should have had a winger replacement for Cabral lined up day one of the transfer window, already playing in Leagues Cup. Like, we all understand why Djordje would be disgruntled with the front office, and somewhat with Armis. Anyway, yeah.
The timing of Rapids transfers are never good. Never good.
No. Well, and you look at the rumor of who they have coming in, which is a unknown Colombian winger that has no production that we can really speak to. That has if I'm Djordje, I'm looking at it like, was this another Cabral?
Yeah.
Like even probably worse. Like Cabral had a big upside when he came over, right? This guy, we don't even know who he is. He's played with the Colombian national team, okay, or youth national team. I mean, he might be a great player. I mean, I saw some highlights on him and he looked great, but I don't have I don't have any expectation, especially with the decisions that the front office make on transfers, that he's going to be anything relevant to this team.
Well, what it feels like to me is like a Brian Galvan or like an unknown South American. Now, Brian Galvan had some dog. I can't dog on Brian Galvan because that fool fought. But it's just like those unknown assets that like you're not really sure if it works out. And a lot of the times those transfers have not worked out.
Well, and Jared makes a good point about, we have a lot of money to spend. Arsenal splash cash and other teams, right? I think, I forget who I mentioned it to, but they just, what is it? KSC's worth $21.2 billion. And $100 million investment in the club is half 1% of that.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
I want to shift gears a bit, my homies, just to kind of start, winding it down.
Sure.
The Rapids, look, by all means, we would benefit by having Djordje Mihailovic on our team for many years to come, right? Do you guys see, based off of, the performance yesterday? It was yesterday, right? Yeah. Last night. We had tons of chances. We were going against Tijuana, which isn't like, we don't see teams like. Sorry, I'm gonna take this off, my homies. I tried to have it on for a minute.
Thanks for giving it a little shout out there. Yeah, if you want one of those.
Yeah, I had to get the shout. Yeah, these are the ones right here, my homies. These are the ones right here. You know what I mean? We're working on We're working on a line of undies and stuff like that.
Well,
You know what I
10
mean?
for the other one. Yeah.
10 for the match.
Yeah.
Sorry, I lost my train of thought there, my homies. But I'll just go back to the chat here. Let's see what we see. Drop it in the bucket. If that Freaks front range entity against Cronky Sports. Okay,
Oh,
that's going to be the
Jesus.
new. And even
I
100
like
million
that.
only brings us up to competitive standard with training facility and a couple of signings. My homies, what I was going to say is we played a good game. I mean, we could have won had we bagged a bit of our chances. We got a little bit unlucky with the game yesterday. We did get beat. Don't get me wrong. I'm saying we should have. I'm not saying we could have won, but we still had chances, especially towards the end of the half. There, we had chances. So, is there a possibility we still make playoffs? I don't think if we do, we're
Hell
going to
no.
really do much. But is there like a possibility that the Rapids are going to be okay without Djordje Mihailovic?
I'm
So
not
I'll say this.
optimistic in the slightest. However, our schedule is a lot of teams. Like, I think the majority of our schedule are teams that are underneath us. So every win, every draw keeps us at the same level in a sense, and every win creates a gap. So honestly, we might sneak into 8th or 9th. That's like as optimistic as I can be right now.
Yeah, I'll say, we looked at the time when Djordje was gone from the club last season, and we were able to perform. And we actually had some of our better. Leagues Cup run at the start. He wasn't there. I think
Right.
he came back from Olympics mid run. I think it was. So we were able to pull out some wins there. There's some times when he was gone that we were able to pull out results. Can it happen? Yes.
Yeah.
Will it happen? I don't know. And the real question is did Djordje have anything to do with the mentality of the team in the locker room? Was it a positive or negative draw? That's a question I can't answer. So, I think that's the key there. The big challenge for our end of the season is we have two games against Minnesota, which we have to win if we have a shot at making the playoffs. And I don't have any expectation of that. And then the LFC at home, final game of the season, that's going to be a must-win game for us, which we could have done. We've done in the past. It's going to be challenged. So there's those 3 games. Those are the 3 key games that we have to make sure we win. And I don't have any promise. It was going to be tough as it was. Now it's going to be even harder.
Absolutely. Jays, what'd you feel, homie?
10% chance we make the playoffs. 40% chance Armis gets fired. And then I'm going to say the rest of the percentage, which is 0.5%, 50%, is just going to be total annihilation of everything. The Rapids way. Chris Armis fired. Entire team decimated. Fan protest. A large GAM trade for super draft picks from the Philadelphia Union.
We still got that for the next 5 years, right?
I hate this team, man. Look at the shit we're talking about right now.
Yeah.
Every fucking time.
Like John and Juanners.
Well, the Portland Timbers guys aren't having these issues. The Inter Miami guys are stroking off together in their chats, but we're over here like
Seattle.
Our team's fucked. Georgie's gone. Denver Summit FC. Like,
we're having emergency meetings. We're having emergency meetings.
It is bad.
They're
Context for those who don't know, it is bad. Down bad, man. You got me at a down bad time.
Look, bro. But look, bro. Let me again play devil's advocate here. Sure. I think it could be a blessing in disguise. And let me say this: the whole squad would have known about this whole situation. They would have seen everything unfold between. They would have been the flies on the proverbial wall. You know what I mean? They would have been that fly on the wall. So, as much as I want to be like 100% respectful to Djordje, he kind of strikes me sometimes that he could probably be an asshole. Not an asshole, but like
a hard ass.
A prick. You know what I mean? A prick. You know what I mean? A hard ass. Yes. And that's totally fair. Like, that's totally fair. But, again, I'll even throw this out there, was given the armband, but kind of admittedly didn't want it. You know what I mean? Kind of put it out there like that he didn't feel he was a leader type material. And again, fair play for being honest. Fair play for knowing that about yourself. But the players, I guess, will probably see this. The players would have seen this all transpire, and now I'm hoping we see a hungrier player that wants to slot into there. Now, we've been seeing the 4-2-3-1 from Armis throughout the majority of the season, and that's because we were able to facilitate having that 10 with Djordje Mihailovic. Now, are we going to be doing different formations? That's where we struggle. So, I think it leaves the door or the spot open for one of these one of these younger kids. I know the homie Greg in the chat is always waxing lyrical about the R2 kids coming up. You know what I mean? And I kind of almost told him earlier during the match. He was wondering why these kids ain't getting more minutes, and I was wondering, could they even be players for Armis? You know what I mean? Are they players that Armis rates? Or are they just good players in the R2 system? So I'm hoping with this negative, we'll get a huge positive. You know what I mean? Just a slot open for one of these hungry players. Logan, what do you think, bro? Is that just too much to ask? I mean, do we have like a diamond in the rough maybe that might come through and pick up 6-7 assists from here until the rest of the season?
I really think like Djordje was just very pivotal. He was the engine that ran our squad. And I don't see somebody replacing him in the short term. I mean, I think the best case scenario for this season is the unexpected happens and Rapid sign a star 10 that is gonna fit right into the system and give the same production that Djordje was giving. But none of us expect that. I would be happy to be wrong and saying that that's probably not going to happen. I really, with the R2 players, the young players, we haven't seen a lot of them, especially this season. I'm kind of interested to see if a handful of them line up against Cruz Azul on Thursday.
Yeah.
That game is.
I hope so.
Yeah, I would hope so too. I mean, use it as a rest for some of the guys that are going to have a tough last 9 games and play some of the young guys, see if anybody will be able to fill any spots. As for formation, I think I wouldn't be surprised if we kind of switch back to the 4-2-2-2, but it hasn't been super effective except for against very particular teams. So we'll see. One thing, when we're talking about the summit coming around and what that means for the Rapids, I'm going to have to research kind of what Houston Dash and what kind of impact that had on Houston Dynamo, because they're also, one of the poverty teams, or not a great MLS team. And they have a NWSL team that's playing at the same stadium, I believe, same city for sure. So I don't know. Yeah. It might be interesting to look into some of that.
Yeah. My homies, Judgmental Jim, you have any final takeaway, bro? Any final thought? Just anything you want to wrap it up with, homie?
I'm just hoping for a good inter MLS trade or some sort of news here, tomorrow or something. There has to be a statement. If there's not a statement, I'm going to be more pissed off. And if it's not a good statement, I'm going to be pissed off because we've had bad statements. So it's got to be a good statement. It's got to have reasoning. And if it doesn't, then we'll go from there. But till then, I'm hoping he's on the phone. Let's just put it that way. He better be on the phone. So
what about you, Crash?
I like your optimism that this could, B-Ray just put in the chat too. It might rally the team. I want to think that, but I don't have history dictates my concern, and
Yeah.
I don't have the expectation that whether it's front office or KSE has the stomach to do what's needed to right the ship.
Mm.
I hope that they do. I think that they have the ability to do it with the signing of a pen pretty easily, but I just don't think that's in the cards for us. So I hope for the best and expect the worst. And if we may fall somewhere in between, then, I will feel a little bit better about it. But man, it's going to be a rough 9 games. And I think, I always love going to matches. So luckily we only have 4 home games left, which is kind of unfortunate. I love going out to the deck and seeing the games, and I just hope to see those boys fight as hard as they can. And if they do, and we have no big changes, I'll be happy. I just want to see fight, and I want to see those guys play as best as they possibly can with what they've got. And if I see that, then I believe Armis and the team are doing what they can, and it's exactly, the blame is exactly, or the accountability is exactly where I expect it.
Mm. Playoffs?
Nope.
No.
Logan, thoughts? Anything? Final wrap up, homie? Anything you want to get off your chest? Anything you want to say?
No, I think I kind of did my closing monologue already. I will plug.
Yeah.
Can I plug some stuff?
Absolutely not.
All right. I'll plug my masks if you want to come get them. But you already did that.
Yeah, go ahead, bro. Go ahead.
Some C38 stuff going on. Next home game, the tailgate theme or the tailgate event is Maker's Market. So we're going to have some C38 creators and C38 adjacent creators with their DIY goods out there. So come support local and check it out. My mom will be selling these bucket hats that she makes out of jerseys.
Fire.
Who else is Chingon's going to be out there with pins and stickers and his jerseys, like the one behind you, the Rapidos jerseys.
Nice. Yep, I see.
Big up to Chingon pins. I had to switch the Djordje Mihailovic for this one. Let's see. More meme playoffs,
and then we're looking to create a 7v7 team for a charity tournament that's coming up later this month on the 23rd. So if you're interested in that, reach out to, I guess, me on Instagram or Twitter, Logan P BRWN.
Absolutely. And NJ.
Yeah, Judge Jim left back, bro. Left back. Let's go.
Yo,
yeah, Logan, hit me up. I might be available.
Awesome. Sweet.
Big up to the homies. Yeah, I was not even gonna stream today, my homies. I had a long day, hot day at work today, but there was no way we were gonna let this shit slide. There was no way we weren't gonna get on here and at least talk about it a bit. I do want to say throughout the whole show, there was like at least we got to 27 people on here at once. So big up to everybody that joined in. And we're still now rolling with 17 people. So if you haven't, please like the stream. I always tag the Colorado Rapids in my Instagram post when I do it, and they always see. Like you could see that they always see. So I'm hoping somebody's watching this. I'm hoping somebody's watching this because you got a bunch of fans. I know there was only 5 on here today, but there's a bunch of fans that, we want to know what's going on. We want to know what's going on. You know what I mean? I don't think that we're asking for anything that's not fair. I just feel like being season ticket holders, being people that go and support our local team, being people that root and pay our hard-earned money to go and enjoy and drink expensive-ass beer in your guys' stadium, put out a statement. Hopefully. I want to say big up to the... I want to say big up to the C38 for the hard work that they do for the tailgating, everything that they do. I did the OR presentation, you know what I mean, last game. So just big up to everything that is involved with the C38. Way too many people to try and big up. So I'm just gonna say, as a whole, the C38, as a whole, the Mile High Locos, the South Bank and everybody that is just involved with the Rapids, big up. It's a very crazy time right now if you're a Pities fan, but we got to stick together, my homies. We got to stick together. Let's go. We got 9 games, like Crash said, and we are making the playoffs. So let's go, my homies.
Oh.
Have a good one. Let's go.